trying their best to manipulate the ascension timeline. All right, they're trying to induce a polar vortex. They've been trying their best to freeze the planet as of lately. And right now, Ra is out. Y'all see that? Y'all can see the chemtrails in the back though too, right? This is cloud seeding technology at its best. So right now, what they're trying to do, gods and goddesses, is induce a polar vortex. That's their objective, is to induce a polar vortex. Now, in certain areas, we're getting hit. Certain areas, they hit you with more chemtrails. Those are the areas where you can tell there's primordial cosmic ley lines that are being activated. And they know exactly what ley lines we're on, all right? When we talk about the people in the Americas, I personally feel like we have the most extraterrestrial DNA. And this is why one of the reasons why they poison us the most in this particular landmass. Yes, chemtrails constantly in North Carolina. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, especially as of lately, the chemtrails are going to be a lot more prominent because currently region 4299, which is a huge sunspot, is facing us, and it's emitting massive corona mass ejections, which are CMEs. All right, and these corona mass ejections are plasma energy bursts that are emitted from the sun. This plasma energy, and right now it's activating the planet like never before. I encourage you to sit with yourself. All of the holidays and all of the everything that's going on currently is to take you away from going inward, gods and goddesses. It's important that we're going inward, right? And that we're tapping in, that we're meditating, that we're grounding. Put your feet on the ground. Put your bare feet on the grass like this and walk and touch a tree, all right? When you walk and touch a tree like this, and you're grounding simultaneously, it creates a charge, right? You're grounding by plugging in your feet, and then you're touching the trees. And when you sit or communicate with a tree, even like this, you get lots of energy, and it's healing us on a cellular level. Just touching a tree, all right? What about the plastic snow? We already know that it's from the high active aurora research program, HAARP, and a lot of the plastic snow is also created because it's man-made. A lot of man-made chemicals and toxins that they want to get in our body to make it very difficult for the melanogenesis process. Don't go on barefoot on the ground, cause worms in your body. Hell no, they don't cause worms in your body. Whoever told you that was trying to make you was trying to keep you from connecting with the planet. That's a fallacy. Worms in your body, no. Actually, if anything, it would combat worms and parasitic organisms because it raises your electromagnetic frequency. So when we talk about the electromagnetic aura field, right, or your morphogenetic field is what archons attach to materialize into parasitic organisms. So this is why sound healing is something that is also essential. We can utilize sound healing, DNA tuning forks. Grounding is something that everybody should be doing, all right? If you believe that it gives you worms in your body, I encourage you to go outside and ground, right? And I promise you're going to feel a lot better. And not only that, when you touch a tree like this, it's an oxytocin exchange. All right, oxytocin is that feel-good chemical when somebody gives you a hug or embraces you. Oxytocin is something that's needed. When you touch a tree, you exchange oxytocin. Now, I made you aware that these plants aren't just inanimate objects. They're actually ancient primordial ancestors. All right, and I've seen a vision. I've seen a vision where the trees will join the Great War. All right. Now, most people are unaware that trees are actually also planktinoid beings from Vega. All right. The whole beings I'm talking about, when we talk about Swamp Thing or I Am Groot, these are extraterrestrial beings that actually that exist. All right. Plant beings. Now, if you watch the movie Maleficent, and they showed in Maleficent how at one point the trees and things of that nature could walk and talk and everything like that. The Fae, elves and pixies and all of those things roamed the planet freely. It was more magic on the realm. As time progressed, when the Elderbarians or the Melnullivan Alpha Draconians hijacked this realm, unfortunately, a lot of the magic was distorted. They cut our massive trees down. Avatar is based on the real cosmic invasion, gods and goddesses, Avatar. And when they showed them cut that massive tree down, all our trees, like a lot of the mountains, are actually trees that they cut down. And these trees produce different minerals, different nutrients that we need. This is why one of the reasons why the magnesium molecule was converted to an iron molecule in our blood. This is why I tell you to consume chlorophyll so much. You see this grass right here, gods and goddesses, is green. It contains lots of chlorophyll, all right? The color green is going to be the most essential for absorbing sunlight, all right? So when we talk about, green, our skin color was green, all right? Characters like Osiris, Isis, Ptah, These characters are depicted green solely for the reason that our melanin at one point, our hemoglobin, was chlorophyll. All right. Once we got invaded, somewhere along the lines, the magnesium molecule was stripped. Now, oxygen is also a neurotoxin. All right. The oxygen makes us forget our true primordial cosmic essence. Believe it or not. We breathe it in, but we're not supposed to be breathing in oxygen. Initially, it was nitrogen in our atmosphere. All right. Traces of hydrogen and nitrogen. Somewhere along the lines, they utilize this oxygen, and it's rusting out our metallics initially. All right. Once you begin to consume chlorophyll is going to recalibrate the melanin. It's going to actually it's going to bring you back to your original essence. It begins to recharge and recalibrate the blood. If you analyze hemoglobin and chlorophyll under a high-power microscope, they have the same exact sacred geometry, cosmic family. And I explained that they're both composed of 137 atoms. They're identical under a microscope, right? So this is a situation where we have to get back into consumption of chlorophyll. People ask me, can pregnant or nursing women take it? Yes. Babies can take it. Kids can take it. Chlorophyll is something that our bodies, our body naturally can process and facilitate. The best thing to give your body, yes, chlorophyll. It's a natural deodorizer, all right? It's an organic detoxification system as well. It detoxes the body naturally by way of what's organic fat substance called mycelium that wraps around unwanted nutrients that transport them out of the body, all right? So we should be consuming large amounts of chlorophyll. I made you aware that not too long ago, somebody, because I've been putting everybody on chlorophyll, this one person told me, yo, I normally get my labs. He had HIV. He told me he went for his labs and they can't find an HIV. Now, HIV is associated with the blood. It's the immune system. Once he starts consuming large amounts of chlorophyll, I'm not saying that it would do this either, all right? But he's indicating that it was able to basically eliminate the HIV and rebalance his immune system, all right? And again, I'm not alleging that it would do that, but the individuals who actually have utilized the chlorophyll consistently, like I have stated, are noticing that it substantially cleanses the blood. I drink it every day. Makes your tummy feel good. It makes you feel great because a lot of people let's say you feel like you need to exercise or train. You have weight on you that you want to get off of you. If you start utilizing, I have the chlorophyll on Holistic Remedies, link in bio. Chlorophyll available on Holistic Remedies, link in bio. That's something that I wholeheartedly recommend. I'm going to pin this comment. All right. That's my website for chlorophyll. Peace to the gods and goddesses is joining. Peace to the gods and goddesses is joining. Big Ashe. All right. Now, one thing that I wanted to stress while coming on here, Cosmic Family, is that the holidays are meant to deter us and to actually take our attention away from going inward. Silence in the mind. Peace to the gods and goddesses joining. Big Ashe. All right. The holidays are meant to take our attention. All right. Holy days or holidays, holidays basically is a short for holy days. All right. And most of these holidays are all energy harvesting tools that basically usurp our Ashe. That's pretty much what they are. And these particular days, when we talk about this, the winter solstice, when we talk about these, right now is a time where there's a huge amount of energy on the planet. That if we were to ground and sit in nature, and we were to lay back in the sun, right, we actually amplify substantially our morphogenetic field. Just by going inward, silence in the mind. These holidays are designed to basically keep you anchored to the root, where you're worried about money, gifts, and all of these other things, which is root chakra energy. All right, none of it existed really in ancient. They worshipped Saturnalia. It was a worship of the Romans worshipped Saturn. All right, and then, around that time, the equinox would actually stay out for quite some time. It was normally around December 25th, where the sun would stay out for almost like a whole day, right? And they worshipped this equinox. Now, not only that, when we talk about Krampus, all right, the demon that represents taking kids, all right, usurping kids. This is why they go all around and they talk about traveling all around the world and all of that. And it's the color red. It's the representation of root chakra energy. Some also say that Santa, the concept of Santa, derived from the mushroom. The Amanita mushroom, the red and white mushroom that's very popular. Some say that the story of Santa actually derived from that mushroom. That the deers would actually consume that mushroom, and they would the deers would take that mushroom, and the whole story of Santa Claus came from the concept of the mushroom or the fungus. There's a lot of very interesting things about psychedelics, but even the Christmas tree. I explain how the Christmas tree is actually your spinal cord. All right, and the lights on the tree is the representation of your chakras. The ornaments is your piezoelectric crystals, which you have piezoelectric crystals located near the sacrum, and you have piezoelectric crystals in the pineal. All right, these are the ornaments. Then on the top of the tree, you'll notice it's a star or an angel. This is the representation of accessing the crown chakra. All right, once you ascertain the crown chakra, you illuminate, you become that star or that angelic being. All right, so everything in reference to the holidays or Christmas, and then we know that the New Year's is false. We know that the New Year does not start in January. All right, New Year would start in either March or April. This is why April Fools was invented. The concept of April Fools was for the simple fact that that's when the real New Year should start. All right, so January, everybody making their New Year's resolutions for false times. All of this is all technology for the purpose of energy harvesting. It's a lot of energy right now, so make sure you're grounding. Make sure you're meditating. You're sitting out in nature, doing your own, and really going inward. Right now, there's so much energy hitting us that it's completely transforming us and giving us the ability to access the 12 silicate matrix. Initially, we were seeded with the 12-strand genetics. How do you get rid of pinworms, black walnut, sweet wormwood, and whole cloves? Those are the 3 best components to not only kill parasites, but also eradicate their eggs. The parasite cleanse that I have on Holistic Remedies, I have a liquid tincture that's composed of 10 ingredients. All right, it also contains berberine, which is very good for eliminating cravings. All right, if you have sugar cravings for cookies, especially around this time, you know, you go to family, even for those gods and goddesses that are trying to get out of the holidays and still can't fully shake it because of family or whatever. So you're surrounded by a bunch of food. I recommend parasite cleansing. All right, there's going to be a lot of energies hitting us, and you want to make sure that you can transform and terraform with the planet. All right, parasite cleanse is going to be essential. Now, the parasite cleanse contains soursop. All right, it contains garlic. All right, it contains berberine. It contains cloves. All right, it contains black walnut. Now, the primary component in the black walnut and the cloves that actually is essential for eradicating the parasites is a chemical substance called eugenol, which also eliminates cancer proliferation. All right, it stops cancer cells. Peace, cosmic family. Peace to the gods and goddesses joining. All y'all, all the divine ones. Big ashe. Once you begin to eliminate the parasites, you're going to notice it's a lot easier for you to stick to a very good diet that's going to be essential for your ascension, as opposed to a lot of the low frequency vibratory food. This is designed to pretty much keep you in that root chakra. All right, so when you eat a lot of the processed food or sugar is very addictive. It's more addictive than crack cocaine. All right, it's more addictive than anything you can think about. Sugar is more addictive. And the purpose of the sugar is to literally shut your body's immune system's ability to produce white blood cells. All right, it forces necrosis. Necrosis is when your cells die. Our objective is to ascertain apoptosis of the cells. All right, so apoptosis, family, that transpires once your body goes through autophagy. And autophagy basically is once your body starts to eat the bad cells. This happens when you begin to fast, or when you incorporate fasting. All right, so if around this time, if we weren't so bogged down by the holidays, hypothetically speaking, let's say we fasted, let's say we meditated, let's say we grounded, let's say we sat in nature, at that point we will reap the benefits of this additional energy coming in. You have to know that anytime they try to keep you entrenched in holidays or focused on something, it's for the purpose of energy harvesting. All right, they're utilizing our ashe for their purpose. We need to take our ashe back and put our energy and stop putting our energy into their false systems. All right, the holidays and all of the BS that they want us to really put our energy into. Once we get together and we do guided meditations where we focus on collapsing this matrix illusion, where we focus on activating and tapping into additional DNA, this is when we begin to rekindle our true primordial cosmic powers and activate that real light in us. Get in nature. You're going to notice that they're trying their best to freeze the planet, but they haven't been successful at all. They haven't been, because Ra is fighting. Right now, we're getting bombarded with solar flares, and nobody know it. Everybody talking about the holidays, the Jake Paul fight, and all of this. When we're getting bombarded with solar flares left and right, all right. At any minute now, we can get a hit with a geomagnetic storm. Nobody's talking about this stuff, right? What if it's raining and you can't go outside? You can still go outside in the rain. Rain is beautiful. You can go outside and touch a tree like this. It is not raining every day. You got to take advantage of it. And a lot of times they make it rain purposely so you stay indoors around LED light. LED light actually has what's called blue light radiation that has adverse effects on the pineal. Now, when we talk about melanin, melanin absorbs all forms of light. All right, and everybody has melanin. Everybody, even those that are with less melanin, still have some type of melanin. All right, there's five different types of melanin. All right. It's hot. Yes, it's hot in December. I'm out here with a muscle shirt on in December. Typically, it's a little bit cooler. All right. But it's a situation where right now we're experiencing more ionization, more ionizing particles, more solar flares. These solar flares are absolutely incredible for our energy fields. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And don't let nobody tell you that the solar flares are detrimental. They're only detrimental if you have a lot of toxic metals in your body. This is why I tell you the importance of utilization of chlorophyll, activated charcoal, or zeolite, or utilization of a parasite cleanse. Once you cleanse yourself of the parasites, you're no longer going to be attracted to the low frequency food. And then listen, parasites aren't only associated with food, they're associated with cigarettes, they're associated with alcohol, they're associated with almost any addiction, even sexual addictions, right? When we talk about parasites, we have a total of 4 brains. Our genitalia is a brain because it contains neurons. The stomach is a brain because it contains neurons. The heart contains neurons, making it a brain. All right, this is why you can know something by heart, right? And then the brain in your skull. Parasites have the ability of traveling through your neural network. All right, cosmic family. I'm talking about from the genitalia all the way up. So what their objective is, they can sometimes keep you fixated on sexual activity or sexual proclivity simply by overconsumption of parasites. Parasites can make you even mate with individuals you shouldn't mate with, right? They can actually send neurological signals to make you think somebody's more attractive than they actually are. It's crazy. Parasites go real deep and they're very intelligent. And they hide behind the toxic metals in our body. They hide behind the barium, the thallium, the lead, the cadmium, the mercury that's emitted from the chemtrails as well as placed in our irrigation systems. What all cleanses do you recommend? I'm addicted to cigarettes and no, I will quit with proper guidance. Well, first thing I'm going to recommend you is to do a detox. All right, I'm going to recommend you to cleanse and detox. And I recommend you utilize a parasite cleanse. But one of the biggest things you're going to have to do, Brenner Zeller, is really meditate. Meditation is going to be the key for actually combating something like cigarettes. You're going to really have to meditate. It's going to take a lot of resilience to actually combat that. But I recommend doing a parasite cleanse, and you're going to notice that a lot of those parasites, because they rest in certain areas of the body to actually send neurological signals to make you crave more low frequency things. That's the objective of parasites. The objective of the parasites is to keep you anchored to the root or sacral chakra, basically stuck in fight or flight. All right. So, I begin detoxing and purging the body with chlorophyll. Begin utilizing sweet wormwood, black walnut, and cloves, which are the parasite cleanses required. Toxic metals are found in earring backs and belt buckles, which can cause organ issues. Wow. Yeah. Listen, toxic metals are everywhere. Toxic metals are everywhere, So it's a situation where, and here's the thing, we don't want to become hypochondriacs. I'm not trying to tell you all of this to make you crazy. I just want to make you prepared. They put toxic metals in our cooking supplies, the things we cook with. Plastics. Most plastics have parabens and phthalates, which are plasticizers. All right. These plasticizers basically they contain carcinogens. And when we talk about parabens and phthalates, they're also in a lot of lotions, a lot of the skincares, a lot of the makeup products that the goddesses are using actually contain parabens and phthalates. You are absolutely correct. What exactly is a parasite cleanse? Can you send me the exact cleansing instructions? Well, I have the parasite cleanse available on Holistic Remedies. Will have the instructions listed, but I can tell you for the record here, if you were to use capsules, my recommendation is to take them fasted upon rising. So when you first wake up upon rising, you can take the black walnut, sweet wormwood, and cloves. And I typically would use it with the chlorophyll. So I'll get up upon rising. I'll use alkaline water or distilled water, preferably distilled water. But then I'll put lemons in my distilled water for a duration of 12 hours to convert it to a distilled alkaline water. All right. So when you take after 12 hours with key limes or lemons or any type of citrus fruit for that matter in your water, it naturally converts it to an alkaline base, all right, bringing it from a 6 pH basically to a 7 pH, making it alkaline, all right, is what that means, or even higher, 9 pH, etc., is when it becomes alkaline. 7 to higher is alkaline. So once you take some distilled water, now distilled water is going to be essential for removing unwanted nutrients out of the body, all right, and if you let it sit for a duration of 12 hours, it now alkalines that water. I'll drink that every day with chlorophyll. I'll drink chlorophyll daily. I'll put the chlorophyll now. Sometimes I'll do it a week on and a week off with the chlorophyll if I feel, because it runs through your system. Okay, I'll utilize the chlorophyll and I'll take the parasite cleanse. I'll take 2 capsules, or if I do the liquid, one dropper full, and then I'll utilize the chlorophyll. And then I'll just do that daily, and then I'll watch what I eat. Sometimes I won't even get hungry. You may notice once you utilize a parasite cleanse, cosmic family, that you're down to probably 1 meal a day. You may be fine with just 1 meal. A lot of you are, as you are ascending, are now walking into your light body where you now can eat 1 meal a day. You're not really focused too much on snacks and junk food and eating a lot. We were brainwashed into eating and craving and snacking and all of that. This is for the purpose to pull us out of synchronicity with our higher self. And ancient Lemuria, they were fully composed of pure ethereal cosmic light. If our objective is to get back to that, then we have to actually slowly but surely wean ourselves off of the food, right? Thank you very much for the information. Curious as to where you get your information, research, analysis, and just basically existing. Right now, you're here right now receiving information, just putting yourself in the right place at the right time to receive information, as opposed to, it's all about what we do with our time, Brenner Zeller. So if I could take the time right now, if I'm on YouTube, it's all about what we put our attention or our ashe into. I could watch fights if I wanted to. I could be scrolling. You could watch twerk videos. You could watch whatever you want to watch, but you're choosing to tap into this information. This is how you learn. By really focusing on what your attention is. Because the world is designed to keep us distracted by the most mundane subject matter. So if you can actually focus your attention on things that actually ascend or propel you on a cosmic level, then that's what you would do. Watching all of the greats, listening to a lot of powerful lectures, and really tapping into that type of information, reading, researching. This is how you gain information. And I've been this way for years. I just, and again, it's about balance. I don't always consume myself in lectures. Sometimes I may enjoy myself. I may watch a regular movie or something like that. But for the most part, even if I'm checking a movie out, it's a sci-fi movie. It's something that has some kind of symbols in it. Something that has some esoteric symbolism to it where I can dissect it and learn and research information. As you become entrenched in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're going to realize that what you spend your time doing is the most important for your ascension process. Is meditating and seeing purple celestial have a significant meaning especially with the solar flares? Yes, a lot of you are probably going to notice you see a lot of swirls in different colors. Why? Because we're now ascertaining more access to the electromagnetic spectrum as we upgrade in frequency. All right, as the Schumann resonance consistently spike, because the Schumann resonance has been spiking consistently. What is the Schumann resonance for those that are unaware? This is the heartbeat of the planet, which is typically 7.83 hertz. Sometimes it jumps up to 14, sometimes it jumps up to 21. And the Schumann resonance, the Schumann resonance graph shows it when it goes in completely in a white. This is when the heartbeat of the planet substantially amplifies. Now, the interesting thing about that is the Schumann resonance is predicated on electromagnetism. Our brain waves are electromagnetism. So whenever the Schumann resonance spikes, it has a direct effect on our electromagnetism, and it affects us mentally. All right, so this is how individuals have more dreams, right? More astral projection experiences. Pressure in the chest or pressure in the prefrontal cortex, right? Some individuals experience ringing in the ear, lots of ringing. All right. Sometimes the ringing is your cosmic family scanning you. All right. Right. Sometimes it's a situation where your ancestors or your celestial star family is trying to get you a message, and it may be blocked. All right. Sometimes a ringing could be that, or it can be you actually tuning into the Schumann resonance, spiking and hearing it amplify. Some of you, now mostly the women are typically more in a fourth circuit of the brain, which is basically the mammalian part of the brain where you can kinesthetically feel things, right? This is why they say women has what they call intuitive sight, where they say a woman's intuition. This comes with being empathic, right? Having empathy. The more empathy we develop, gods and goddesses, the more we step back into our telepathy. All right, the more we step back into having the ability to read minds again. This is all associated with the heart chakra, all right? This is also associated, this is all predicated on cleansing ourselves. Cleansing ourselves really is the epicenter to ascertaining the highest level of consciousness. I have a ton of ringing in my ears every day. This is because you're tuning into the Schumann resonance. And it could be a number of other things as well. All right, sometimes ringing in the ear could be associated with deceptive frequencies as well. Right? This is why I talk about the use of copper or crystals, right? Certain crystals have the ability of protecting you, right? This is Snowflake Obsidian. Shout out to my boy Delano, right? When you wear certain crystals or copper, it actually protects you from omnipresent radiation. It actually protects you from deceptive frequencies or ELF waves. Are you able to kill parasites by grounding? Well, I won't say you can kill parasites. I will say that you can eliminate archons before they could become parasites. But what I will say is some small parasites on a different level, yeah. Because you raise your electromagnetic aura field just by grounding. It substantially amplifies your energy, your electrical output. All right, we're electrical magnetic beings. For those that are unaware, we're electrical beings. All right, so this is why grounding is like plugging in your cell phone in the charger. It's like when you take your cell phone and plug it in the charger. This is what I'm doing. When I touch a tree like this and I'm on the ground like this simultaneously, at that point I'm charging up. I'm charging up, family. You feel me? So that's what the objective is. I have a ton of ringing in my ears. Ginkgo biloba is another great herb that is phenomenal for removing things like tinnitus or combating the ringing in your ear. All right. Where do we got? I got crystals also on Holistic Remedies, link in bio. All right. Now, another great crystal that I recommend, obviously, currently, is orgonite. Orgone is going to be a phenomenal crystal for converting energy. All right. I refer to orgone as the energetic alchemist. You can place a piece of orgone on your nightstand, and it's going to absorb most of the radiation it's output from these cell phones, from these devices or tablets or any omnipresent radiation. I have many crystals. What kind do you use for protection from frequency attacks? Black tourmaline or obsidian is going to be the best for psychic attacks. Any black crystal is going to give you the ample protection needed in order to protect yourself in the cosmos. Now, the thing is, with black crystals, you have to clean them a lot. Palo Santo or sage is phenomenal crystals for cleansing. All right, but one of the best things that I recommend for spiritual protection, hands down, is red dragon resin. All right, and red dragon resin also amplifies your dormant abilities. All right, this is what the tribes used on Canary Island. The Goanchi tribes used on Canary Island in the 15th century. They utilized red dragon resin powder. I have that on Holistic Remedies. I have a pyramid organ piece I bought off Etsy. I have it placed above where I sleep. Good, very good. Again, crystal pyramids are going to be phenomenal. Selenite is good. It's water soluble. Selenite is a crystal that is actually very good for charging your other crystals. You know, you can actually leave your crystals near selenite and it's going to charge them up. Yes, I wear a Palo Santo bracelet next to the obsidian bracelet. Ashe. Do the worms come from eating meat? I mean, some worms can come from eating meat. Some worms could come from a multitude of things. They come from everything. But they're not only associated with meat, they're associated with a ton of things. As far as parasitic invaders. I personally feel like, now here's the thing. When worms even could be in, believe it or not, certain vegetables. I know that sounds crazy, right? You know, but Monsanto is a company that was spraying deceptive chemicals on a lot of vegetables, all right, and also altering some of the components in them. Most of the worms are in processed food. To be real with you, though, most of it is in processed food. Yes, do I recommend a Dr. Sebi diet? Yeah. But also, I want to tell you this. I'm not a person that I personally feel like this whole planet was a huge eugenics testing facility. Everybody has different extraterrestrial DNA. So I don't believe it's a one-size-fits-all diet for everybody. I'm one of the ones that would tell you that. Some of you have reptilian in you. Some of you have Telosian in you. Some of you have Arcturian in you. Some of you have Blue Avian. Some of you have Lyran. And all of you, believe it or not, we require different sustenance. Some individuals crave more meat if they have more reptilian in them. All right? So this is why you have to understand, all right, for example, I personally feel like when the Dogon tribe was approached by the Nomos, a lot of them actually mixed DNA with the beings in Mali, right, around that time. And this is why, if you look over in Americas, you will see most Africans typically, if they're from they don't typically grow a lot of facial hair. I'm not saying that they don't have any, but typically they're not known for a real thick beards or anything. That's something that's typically in America, right? And this is associated with blood types. I believe that the people in America are more Anunnaki, and the people over in Africa probably have more Nomo in them, right? So I personally feel like that is a situation where you'll find out exactly what blood type you are based on your cravings too, based on what you want, what you want to consume. My eyes started getting smaller while I was taking ginkgo biloba. Interesting. When your eyes got smaller, did you notice anything in reference to ascension? Did it amplify your pineal? And what did you notice? Because eyes getting smaller is very interesting. I never heard of anything like that. Foods with the letter K or the letter U, halal or kosher. What is the best crystals we should use for healing? It depends what you're trying to heal. The crystal malachite is a very good crystal that I highly recommend right now. Malachite is very good. Women can use malachite for cramps. Malachite is a crystal also that can be used to amplify your red blood cell count. Malachite has been known to actually alleviate diabetes, believe it or not. Green aventurine is a crystal for sight, vision. All right, amplifies your vision, right? When we talk about lapis lazuli, that's a crystal for third eye activation that Isis used. She had a staff that was composed of lapis lazuli, the goddess Isis. All right, lapis lazuli is a very amethyst, very powerful crystal for connecting to the crown chakra. Is death a lie? Death is basically, death doesn't really exist. You can die in a physical body, but energy doesn't die. It only recycles. I personally feel like when we die, it's just like Super Mario dying in a video game and having an extra life. Super Mario or Sonic fall into a pit, another version of them come back. We exist on multiple timelines simultaneously. We aren't the body. We are energy inhabiting this corporeal vessel. All right? So I always talk about this magic mushroom experience where I seen behind the veil. It was a situation where in this particular experience, I took off a headset, and the headset was connected to this reality. And it was one big game we were playing. We was projecting from the fifth dimension. We basically believed that we were really operating these bodies and stuff, but we were really just playing a game. And I know that sounds crazy. It's hard to fathom, right? But it's a higher version of you that already mastered this game. It's a version of you that already mastered everything in the universe. You're just reminding yourself who you are. You came back at this time during the ascension timeline to basically cleanse karmic debt and to also remember who you are. But and in the midst of it, we've been placed under a sleep spell. There's going to be a time when all the deceptive technology that these deletes are utilizing to keep us in a sleep spell is completely eradicated. And when that happens, all of your ancient memories are going to come back online. They're going to be rekindled instantaneously. I'm talking about, imagine thousands and thousands of years of information coming to you like that, remembering everything. We had the ability of flight. I seen the timeline where we destroyed this matrix illusion. It already exists. It already exists. You just got to know it. You just got to know it. So most of the things that you think you bogged down by as far as stress and anxiety in this third dimensional plane is all things that you're basically going through for the purpose of learning and cleansing karmic debt. All right? Because this earth, I feel like, is a school. It's that one of the most hardest schools, though. And some of us came back to school more than once. So now this is the last time I ever want to have to come back to school. I'm trying to graduate, right? Do you know about the Moorish Americans, and do you consider yourself that? All of us are Moors. All of us are initially Moors. Shout out to Noble Drew Ali. All of us are really originally Moors. All right, as far as the title Black and as far as the title African American or Negro, these were titles that were given to us for control. At one point, they even called us white. Did you know that? Certain groups of races were deemed black at one point, and then they changed them to white, like Italians and most redheads and gingers. They were called black at one point, and then they were changed to white. White and black is just titles. They're just titles that they utilize to basically deem control. Once we really reclaim who we truly are, I personally feel like, even though, shout out to Noble Drew Ali, but I feel like we're native to the Americas, or not native to Tom Marie, right? Whatever you want to call it. We are the Indians that they talked about when Christopher Columbus came and seen copper-colored people. That's who we are, right? As far as all of these names, we are Atlanteans in essence. We are Lemurians. We are those same beings. We descended from those lineages. So it even go back farther than Moors, to be honest with you. Right? So, I mean, it go back. A lot of us, when we talk about people like Credo Mutwa actually always talked about how we inhabited planets like Mars prior to coming here. How the goddesses would activate their Merkaba. They had the ability of literally activating the flaming chariot. All right? So we are that advanced. These bodies that we're in are literally cosmic ships. The body was never meant to die either. All right, this body actually has the ability of ascertaining eternity. But the only thing is, they attack us so much consistently with cloud seeding, toxic metals, atrazine, glyphosate, all types of endocrine disruptors. They attack us with so many things that throw us out of synchronicity with the true version of who we are. But we really are very powerful. All right, and if they left us alone, if they left us the hell alone for a little while, we'll rekindle the same abilities we had during Atlantis and Lemuria. Now, when we talk about Atlantis and Lemuria predate Atlantis, all right, for those that are unaware. Atlantis was hijacked by technology. A lot of them became overzealous with the technology, and they actually attacked Lemuria. All right, a lot of people don't know this story. In ancient times, we had active crystals. The crystals were sentient and alive. I'm talking about crystalline technology that can glow on its own, talk, just like certain mushroom and fungi have the ability of glowing and operating and things of that nature on certain extraterrestrial lands, right? There's the same thing with crystals. This is what the Avatar showed us, how the crystal structures would be luminous and they would glow. This is what they had in Lemuria. The crystals we have now are nowhere near the crystals that we had in ancient times. I'm talking about conscious crystals that literally can communicate with like almost like AI type stuff. When Iron Man talking to Jarvis, crystals that can do that. Self-aware living crystals. Piezoelectric crystals that are aware and knowing, right? This is what the technology that they had in Atlantis. We are way less technical than we were back in the days of Atlantis. But once Atlantis became real technical, a malevolent extraterrestrial by the name of Ereshkigal Girl, who was the daughter of Enki, along with the Dark Brotherhood, had nefarious plans, basically. And they utilized some of the scrolls and some of the information or the quantum technology for nefarious purposes. We had lightsabers. We had everything that you see in Star Wars, we actually had in Atlantis. Quantum rejuvenation chambers. You can be missing an arm or leg and walk into the chamber and regrow a limb. Cloning been existed way before what's the Clonate, because now it's a company currently called Clonate. You can look it up, where they cloned someone back in the woman they called her Eve. They cloned her with, just like they cloned Dolly the sheep. That they've been had this cloning technology, and I personally feel like the Grand Canyon is where they house a lot of the eugenics test, a lot of the Anunnaki's technology or Yakub's technology. A lot of that technology, I feel like for eugenics is in the Grand Canyon. I'm talking about stargates. I'm talking about ships that operate on your consciousness, where you can literally walk into the ship. You don't do anything with it like this to drive it. It's all based on your consciousness, right? With the element they had called Omicron that was discovered back around Area 51, called Element 115, which cancels inertia. When we talk about the Anunnaki, these beings are some of the most technical beings in the cosmos, and this is one of the ways that they were able to conquer. I'm talking about crazy technology. Some say that Anu, pretty much his whole business, Anu, and again, they're beings just like us that they're not, they're beings that walk and they can come and descend down. They're beings. Some say Anu has some of the most highest technology period in the cosmos. All right, that his technology was very, very advanced. I'm talking about literally pressing buttons and transforming light into solid objects. I've seen it in a vision before. I seen how they fly their ships into the sun and all of that. You don't gotta believe me, but the sun is full of plasma energy, and this is how the ships are typically charged. And a lot of my mug or Blue Lotus experiences when I'm traveling, I see beings that look humanoid that you be like, okay, that has to be an extraterrestrial, but they look human, but they have slightly different features. Tall beings, very tall, where I know that I'm seeing an Anunnaki, or I know I'm seeing these beings from ancient Atlantis. I'm telling you. A lot of you were in Tatari. A lot of you were in Lemurians or Atlanteans, but just don't remember the timeline. Once you begin lucid dreaming, you can access the Akashic records. I told you herbs like Blue Lotus are great for astral projection, or as well as lucid dreaming, by way of creating activity in the prefrontal cortex. But you have to be a little cautious of the Blue Lotus. A lot of people doesn't have the high quality Blue Lotus with real apomorphine in it. Some get purple Thai flower as opposed to real Blue Lotus. All right? So the difference is the apomorphine content. All right? So a lot of you, and again, there's a lot of ways to utilize. You can smoke Blue Lotus, all right? And you can also brew it into a tea. All right? What about Tiamat? Where is she? Tiamat is the primordial chaos dragon. Tiamat, the essence of Tiamat is here, and she's waking up through her daughters. All right? The dragon ley lines are entities, are literal dragons that actually guard gates. I have the Blue Lotus link in bio. I have it pinned right here. Holistic Remedies link in bio for the Blue Lotus. Anybody looking for Blue Lotus? Now, a lot of the gods and goddesses that actually try the Blue Lotus do have outer body experiences. So if you're scared of astral projection, you need to transmute that right now. All right? Astral projection is something that's it's not something that you should fear. They lied to you when they told you you can get stuck in another realm, or you can get your body hijacked. That's all lies. That's all fallacies. Because guess what? Organizations such as the CIA, they use remote viewing. They use things like astral projection. They've been utilizing it for years. All right? They understand they have what's called a consciousness energy grid. All right? What if I told you that there's dream agents that watch for skilled astral projectors to try to deter them? All right? I'm telling you, I have agents and all of that that approach me in my dreams. All right? I had a group of beings send me back in my body before. They utilized the device to knock me back in my body. This was a Blue Lotus and Mugwort experience, family. So now again, the Mugwort and Blue Lotus is smokable. Sometimes we overdo cannabis. I love my cannabis, don't get me wrong. But when you overconsume cannabis, especially lately, when they legalize cannabis, a lot of mind forgetful agents have begun to get placed in it. Especially, I don't get anything, I won't never recommend getting green from a dispensary. I'm just not trying to hate on the dispensaries, but I'm going to be honest. Once they legalize it, you have to watch it, right? But when you overconsume cannabis, it hinders your REM, which is rapid eye movement, all right? In order to ascertain a lucid dream, you need what's called theta waves. Cannabis produces more delta waves, all right? So when you overproduce delta waves, this is when you go into the sleep state like this and you don't remember your dream. You just knocked out. But when you have activity in the prefrontal cortex, now it envelops to what's called a theta frequency, which is a vibratory resonance between 4 and 8 hertz, all right? 4 and 8 hertz, all right? Somebody said, weed make me feel weird now, so you got to be very cautious, right? Now, here's the thing. It's going to be some days where you want to experience a crazy dream. Those days you say, you know what? I'm not smoking cannabis too late. I'm going to replace it with Blue Lotus. I'm going to replace it with Mugwort. One night I did that, Cosmic Family. I became the most lucid that I ever been. I ascertained what's called the gamma frequency, which is a frequency for 30 hertz. This is when you're at the highest state of heightened perception that you can ascertain. I'm talking about, for those that may have had a psychedelic experience, you ever had an ego death? Where you feel connected to the cosmos completely, where you remember the past, present, and future all at once. You feel like you're tethered to everything, right? The hive mind effect. This is. I had that times 10, and it's Blue Lotus and Mugwort experience. So I go to sleep, right, family, and I start typically when I go into a lucid dream. One of the first things I know is I'll be like, okay. Once I become lucid, I'll try to fly. That's the first thing I'll do. I'll say, okay, I'm about to try to fly. And in that dream state, I attempted to fly. And when I start flying, something clicked. I became, out of nowhere, I became super lucid. Like I was more lucid than I even am now while I'm talking to you guys. I was super aware and focused. And I was powered up. I mean, I felt so much energy circulating through my body that I literally was, like the energy was picking me up and lifting me up in the air and turning me all around. I couldn't even control it. All right? Like imagine floating and your body just spinning around because the energy just like pushing through you and funneling through you so much where it's just you can't even control it. Now, as I charge up and I'm charging up and I'm spinning, I look and I see a tribe of what looks like indigenous, what we would call African, right? But we know that that's a nomenclature title for third dimensional for the third dimension. These beings were what I would say melanated, all right, Nubian looking entities, and they were led by a woman. They were being led by a woman. She had paint on her face, looked like tribal paint. In their hands, they had staffs. At the end of the staff, it had like a crystal on the end of the staff, family. Now, I feel super powerful, right? So, I don't know why, but when I seen these beings, I thought maybe they was ancestors, maybe they had some information for me, maybe they wanted to tell me something, so I let them get very close. When I let them get close, they hit me with that device, and it shocked me and put me back in my body. And I felt an electric current go through me. I personally feel like the device that they used was purposely designed to put people that's in an astral plane back in their body. I don't know. I think I became too powerful. I think that, if you ever watch, for those that watch anime, you've probably seen cartoons like Dragon Ball. You ever see when a character come in and they say, "Well, his power level is off the meter," and they can read his power. Wow, whose power level is that? I think that's what happened. I feel like when I popped in that reality, I became so powerful that I alerted whatever organization this was. So I personally, to this day, I feel like they were the astral police. Can't smoke it anymore. That be tampering with it all along. They make alkaline edibles. I have excellent experiences though. I'll show you. Right? I believe that they were the astral police or some type of unit, some type of space unit or astral unit, family. I really do, to this day. All right? And they put me back in my body. I was so mad, I laid back down trying to go back, man. I was tight. You feel me? So, that was a situation that was crazy, you know, and I was on Malwort and Blue Lotus, right? What if that was then giving you more power? What if that was them giving you more? I don't think that was giving me more power, because if they was trying to give me more power, they wouldn't have. I'll just purchase your Blue Lotus. Ashe, family. Big Ashe, goddess. Big Ashe. I can't wait to hear your experience. One thing I recommend is blending it into a tea. When you steep it into a tea, it's important to let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes to let a lot of the apomorphine actually soak into the tea, all right? Don't use tap water, all right? So here's some key things. A lot of times people pour water in a pot and they'll use tap water. That has lead, cadmium, mercury, aluminum. You want to use spring, distill, or alkaline water, all right? Preferably lemon, all right? Let it soak in the lemon for a little bit of time, or key lime, and then add some honey. And then I'll also roll up a Blue Lotus a blunt. Now, I don't use tobacco or anything like that. I'll only use vegan wraps or hemp paper, all right? And or a bowl, or bolus suffice, all right? Or vaporizer, however you want to use it. And I'll vaporize it with my tea. So I'll drink my Blue Lotus tea, and I'll smoke one at the same time. I'll lay down, and I'll use meditation music. I'll use meditation music or binaural beats to hone in my frequency. One of the first things you will notice is closed eye visuals. Yes, they found cadmium in those belt buckles and earrings mentioned earlier. Yes. You know, and this is the thing. They use cadmium and mercury and a lot of these things in almost anything, and almost everything, cosmic family. So thallium is another thing, another metal that they've been utilizing more, and it's known for thinning the hair. Thallium will thin the hair big time, right? So you want to. I have a very good fast hair oil growth at people with thinning hair. All right, it contains fleece flower root, it contains black sesame, and it contains arborvitae. All right, and it's known for actually regrowing thinning hair. Much love, family. Peace and love to you. Yeah, smoking it gave me panic attacks and my stomach felt tight. Sorry to hear that, man. That sounds very, very, very bad. That sounds very bad, family. I read that if you listen to 2 different frequencies, one in each ear, you can awaken both sides of the brain between 3 to 7 hertz. That's called HemiSync. That was created by a gentleman by the name of Robert Monroe. HemiSync technology. All right, and that's just what the CIA studied. Look up hemisynchronization. All right, and this is what LSD does. It syncs the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. Typically your left or right brain, but when you synchronize both, something very profound happens. All right, so binaural beats were created by Robert Monroe. Robert Monroe was actually trying to find something that soothed aneurysms and headaches naturally without anything invasive, right? Evasive. He didn't want to use any kind of medicine from Big Pharma, so he just wanted to use frequency due to the fact that Robert Monroe understood that our brainwaves are predicated on electromagnetic frequency, right? So he would utilize these sounds. Isochronic frequencies is what he referred to them, or HemiSync. As he was messing around with these frequencies, he was laying down on his bed, right? Cosmic family, laying on his bed, and all of a sudden he said he looked down and seen somebody laying next to his wife. He was like, "What? Who was that?" And then he realized it was him. He was out of his own body, looking at himself laying next to his wife. He at that point got scared, went back to his body, and it was like, wow, that never happened before. Then he started experimenting with more and more of the frequencies, and he would leave his body consistently. He has so many stories about traveling to other planets, visiting other worlds. You have the ability of astral projection and soul projection, right? I told y'all, there's 7 different ethereal planes, all right? And we have the ability of traveling and visiting all of them. A lot of the archons can't. This is why they envy us. Because we're multi-dimensional beings that can travel and go to higher realms and lower realms. The underworld, if you may, and the heavens. Right? We can visit both. So whenever you're in these transcendental states of consciousness, cosmic family, and you see a malevolent entity, one of the first things I want you to do is imagine, first give it love. Because the love frequency they can't handle. Draconians, Aldebarians, malevolent extraterrestrial, they can't handle the love frequency. This is why once we embody that love, it's going to be a situation where we take the planet back. It's going to be a situation where we take the planet back once we fully embody the love frequency, cosmic family. All right? But right now, a lot of people are built on separation. They're separated by race. They're separated by gender. They're separated by financial status. All of these things to separate us really keep us from entering the heart chakra fully. All right? Which is needed in order to really get to the higher level. Is for us to fully step into the heart chakra. All right? And to ascertain that love. All right, anything, and hence the chlorophyll. When you cleanse the body, something green, it correlates and links you with heart chakra resonance. I'm dead serious. And crystals like malachite, all right? Crystals like green aventurine, all right? Any green crystal is going to be essential. Green organ, anything that's going to be that represents green is going to be associated with the heart chakra frequency, cosmic family. That's what we want to activate right now. All right, we want to get in, and this is another reason why I don't get into things like flat Earth versus round Earth. Anything with separation in a collective, I'm not down for. I'm down for us unifying and actually getting back to the law of one. This is what the Anuhazi, this is what these higher dimensional beings were basically about. It's about unity consciousness. How do you get what you have for thinking of the hair? Oh, I have that on Holistic Remedies, link in bio. The fast hair oil. It's called fast hair essence oil. You can, once you go on Holistic Remedies, just go and search and put hair oil and it'll pop right up. All right, it'll pop right up for you. And it does work. I heard everyone can't use malachite. Why not though? If someone can't use malachite, maybe it's because it amplifies red blood cell count. Maybe they may have something where they're sensitive to certain crystals. That's very interesting. Certain crystals, once the crystal's done with you, typically it will break. All types of stuff happen. You will lose the crystal. A lot of times, because crystals are alive, contrary to what you think. This crystal right here is alive. All crystals are alive and sentient, and they're conscious. But we just have to activate them like they did back in the ancient Lemuria in order to fully get them at their highest pinnacle. Peace to the gods and goddesses joining. When you talk spiritual, they stop your feed. Yeah, of course. Anytime we really get into speaking about love or unification or unity consciousness or elevating, then they try to freeze the live and stop the edification. Right? Now, I personally feel like in the next coming days, gods and goddesses, they're going to try to throw out a Black Swan event. They're going to try to launch a Black Swan event. And for those that are unaware of what a Black Swan event, this is a chaos event. Something that basically like 9/11, right? Or something like where they would unalive somebody in front of a massive amount of people and to create rage. All right? They'll do it through the holidays. They do it through Super Bowls. They do it through the award shows and all that with these entertainers or celebrities. Their whole objective is to ascertain Luge. The holidays and all of that, they've been doing it for so many years. We have to wake the hell up eventually. Thanksgiving, all of that is energy harvesting mechanisms. And it's magic. It's dark ritual magic that they utilize. It's seeing a dream of a humanoid with all black eyes and no white in the eyes and glowing body. Is that a different being, lucid dreaming? It sounds like it. I want you to reword the question a little bit more clear, though, family. You say it's seeing a dream of a humanoid with all black eyes and no white in the eyes and glowing body. Is that a different being, lucid dreaming? It could be a different being, or it could be another version of you. Right? Once I looked in the mirror and I astral, because when I astral project or lucid dream, oftentimes I'll find a house. And I'll be in a house and I'll walk through the house. And if you could find a mirror, I encourage you to look in the mirror in the dream world and see how you look. You may not always look the same. I have looked completely different. Right? I have been extraterrestrial. I have looked in the mirror and I had no black in my eyes, all white. Then there's times I look in the mirror and have no white in my eyes, all black. It just depends. But we have multiple different bodies that we inhabit. You're not just that one body. You're a multiversal being. Right? So when we talk about the different planes of consciousness, you had a physical plane, you had an ethereal plane, you had an astral plane, you had the casual plane, you have the mental plane, you have the soul plane. All right, these planes. Now, once you ascertain the soul plane, this is when you go back home. When you astral project, you exit through the solar plexus chakra. When you soul project, you exit through the crown chakra. All right, it's referred to as that soft spot when you're born, called the Calvary. That's the soft spot. You pop right through there, like you pop right out, right? And then from there, you have the ability of accessing all 7 different planes, right? So when you watch, and the soul plane is purple. You know, what's crazy is when you watch that old movie Soul Plane. Remember they had a plane that was called Soul Plane? But it was purple. And it was like, wow, that's a coincidence. Or is it a coincidence or somebody knew something about the Soul Plane? Because the Soul Plane is associated with the crown chakra, gratitude. Yeah, I seen what those astral police looks like. I was lucid dreaming and it followed me back to my home and it used something to hold me down to my bed. When I noticed it, they definitely losing their grip. Wow, that's very powerful. So now let's really build real quick on the CIA, all right, and how these organizations, these alphabet organizations, know how powerful we really are, all right. Peace, God, peace to the gods and goddesses, all of the divine ones watching. I big ashe, and I love y'all all, right? Now, right now, a lot of you are probably noticing a lot more astral projection or lucid dreams. One of the things I want to encourage you is not to be scared. Religion has taught us to be scared of these experiences when really we're multidimensional. All right, we're multidimensional beings. So we can travel and go to any of these realms at any time, right? But now as far as the CIA and as far as these organizations, they use consciousness energy grids, all right? They understand the power of laws and of attraction and everything. They would utilize remote viewing for Cold War, for the Cold War. They had a person that was skilled at remote viewing. And then when they realized that, they started using chemtrails and stuff over us, family, right? Now, you see that chemtrail right there, right? You see that chemtrail. Oh, they're trying the chemtrail, but for some reason, I think orbs or elementals are cleaning them up. The dragons and things of that nature. For those that are unaware, dragons and things of that nature do exist. There's beings that exist in our atmosphere we can't see with the naked eye. All right? There's beings that if you were to wear special lenses, you might see a mothership. Right now, it could be a huge-ass mothership right there that we can't see. That if I were to wear a special pair of lenses, the mothership would pop right up. There's entities that we only see 0.35% of the light photon spectrum. There's entities all around us. There's probably fairies, pixies, elves, all running around this yard right now. I can't even see. This is why when you utilize magic mushrooms or you tap into psychedelic, you can see things that aren't allegedly there because now you're accessing more of the electromagnetic spectrum. We're doing that naturally as the solar flares ramp up. This is what they don't want. They don't want that. This is what get me amped up. I get so amped up and hyped because I've seen the timeline where we destroy everything that they stand for. I've seen it already. I know it exists. I've seen multiple gods and goddesses flying, levitating, floating. All right? And we were telepathically in sync. Right? And we knew exactly everything that they were doing. And this happened in a crazy lucid dream. I smoked a little Blue Lotus, went to bed, and bow, popped right out my body. Typically what happened, family, is a portal opens up. All right. Now, for those that smoke the Blue Lotus, I also encourage utilizing herbs like Haritaki to begin to decalcify the pineal gland. Blue Lotus is great for activating the pineal. All right. It's a pineal gland activation. But with all of the chemtrails that they use over us, Cosmic Family, we have to utilize something aggressive to rip the calcium deposits off. All right. So when we talk about chemtrails, they're composed of aluminum, lead, cadmium, mercury, nitrogen trifluoride, also known as chaff. There are so many things that they place in the chemtrails. Tons of neurotoxins, right? Tons of mind forgetful agents, right? They utilize things that also bend light photons so we can't see the real reality. The dragons, the beings that surround us. They're using deceptive technology so we can't really see what the hell is going on. All right? So you need something to rip those calcium deposits off the pineal. Your pineal is composed of piezoelectric crystals. All right? I made you aware of magnetites, dendrites, and calcites. All right. These piezoelectric crystals are, when we talk about the Christmas tree, I made you aware that the Christmas tree is the representation of Kundalini. It's the representation of your chakras. Your spine is the tree. The ornaments is the representation of those magnetites, dendrites, or calcites. All right. Which we have 144,000 total. 72,000 here near the sacrum. 72,000 here, which is 144,000. We have these magnetites, dendrites, and calcites that are the ornaments. And then when you get the lights, this is the chakra centers aligning. All right. And then I made you aware that the top of the Christmas tree, that star, is the representation of you accessing the crown. All right. Or the angel at the top of the tree is the representation of you accessing the crown to pull in an angelic version of yourself. All right. So once we align this, and this is why they try to distract us with every damn thing, because we're that powerful. But nothing they do is going to be able to really keep us from really tapping into who we truly are. Right? Once we begin to sit with ourselves, you're going to begin to tap into your Akashic records. You feel me? Yes, I heard they move so fast that we can't see them. Well, yes, not only do they move so fast, but they bend light photons. All right? They've been light photons. And our purest form, we can see everything. But they have to distort us because we're that damn powerful. You also have when your pineal gland is fully open, you can see things that other people can't. Trust me when I tell you this. You see auras. You can sense things. You can kinesthetically feel things. You can tap into the neocortex now. Neo in the Matrix is the representation of the activation of the higher circuits of the brain. This is why they call them Neo. It's the neocortex. We have different portions of the brain. You have the reptilian brain, right, which is the R complex. You have an insect brain, all right, which is associated with the hive mind. This is why we all are technically telepathic, but they alter the insect portion of our mind and make us. They try to get us to synchronize for the hive mind for bullshit instead of what we really should synchronize. Now, when I say for bullshit, I mean basically like control. All right, they try to induce the hive mind through your job, through religion. All right, through the financial system to get us all on one accord. But when we all are all on one accord in a positive way, it scares them to death. So they want us in between the root and sacral. Then you have the bird brain, which is associated with the avian brain, right? All right, this deals with logic. All right, shout out to Dr. Ju Pukram. This is her teachings, right? Shout out to the goddess Dr. Ju Pukram. Then when we get into the fourth circuit of the brain, this is associated with the mammalian. All right, your dogs, your cats, mammals, right? We're mammals, right? We're mammalian. But when we talk about kinesthetically feeling things like your dogs or cats, they tend to love harder, right? For those that have pets or dogs, they'll follow you all around, right? This is for the sole purpose of love. This is why they say man's best friend or whatever the case may have you, right? But as far as once you get into the neocortex, this is now where extrasensory perception comes into play. Now you see beyond the veil. You become the one. You become the one. See, now when we talk about Matrix, what was the agents, right? The Agent Smiths was the NPCs. Those are your non-playable characters. And the non-playable characters always convert other NPCs. They make more NPCs. You notice Agent Smith will put his hand on somebody and they'll turn them into an Agent Smith. This is what the non-playable characters. This is your parasites. Your processed food creates more NPCs. I told you that most people in the country have a brain-eating parasite called Toxoplasma gondii. You could look it up. Look up the percentage of people that has Toxoplasma gondii. I challenge you to do that while we're on this live. You can get off real quick. Look up number of people that have Toxoplasma gondii, which is a brain parasite. Some people are under the impression you only can get it from cats, but that's not true. All right. And this is a brain parasite, all right? It's called, the process of it's called cysticercosis. Again, this is a parasite that can travel from the colon to the heart to the brain. Now, you may not believe it, but these are associated with the mantids, all right? When we talk about the malevolent extraterrestrial factions that hijack this realm, we have the mantids to thank for the parasites, all right? Again, their objective is induction of the hive mind, all right? When we talk about adrenochrome, and child trafficking, that's associated with what? The reptilian, right? But when we talk about toxic metals, thallium and these foreign metals, this is associated with the grays. All right? When we talk about the deceptive Anunnaki too. I mean, the Jehovah Anunnaki are responsible for a lot of the deceptive things that go on this planet as well. All right? And now a lot of these beings wanted to be deified. They wanted to be deemed and revered as God. Not let us know that we are gods as well. Approximately 2 billion people worldwide, allegedly. 2 billion people is a lot of people. You know what? Most of the people, let's talk about 2 billion. I don't even think most of the people on this planet is even real. Let's talk about it. How many people are clones or NPCs? So when we talk about people, how many of those people are real when we talk about allegedly 8 billion people being on this planet? Now, they're not even counting inner Earth or anything. And I don't even know if they got a thorough count on that, right? But let's just say, for lack of better words, they do. I believe a lot of those are Cabbage Patch Kids, like the same kids that were made during the Tartarian Empire. When the Tartaria fell, all right? When Tartaria fell, there were Cabbage Patch Kids. Now, what those were clones that were completely wiped clean of any epigenetic storage, right? Those were clones that were wiped clean of any epigenetic storage, so they don't have the ability of passing on memories. Because those that are indigenous have epigenetic memory. You remember who you are, even if you don't think you know who you are. You remember. You just have to go back farther into your Akashic records. They say the Greys are actually us in the future. And in fact, they focus on technology only. Now their bodies are deteriorating. And so they jump timelines to come back to us and try to heal their bodies. I heard of that theory as well. Now, when we talk about the Greys, I heard that there was also a war. All right, so let's talk about this, because there's a lot of different stories about the Greys. There was also a story about these beings from Procyon, right? Which was allegedly a pleasure planet of all beautiful people. Tall, handsome, beautiful women, right? Muscles, curvy, voluptuous, anything you can think about as far as Procyon allegedly this planet has, right? Now, there was a war that broke out between two sides of the planet, right? One side apparently had nuclear capabilities, right? And the other side got affected with the nuclear with nuclear activity, and allegedly, according to this story, turned them into like Greys, where they were now no longer beautiful. They didn't have the beauty that they had, right? So that's the story that I heard. So there's and it could be true about the Greys, but then there's also talks of the Greys being biological drones, in essence, that multiple extraterrestrials utilize. Like the smaller Greys are drones. They're pretty much, most people that get abducted by these beings, like the Betty and Barney Hill case, they'll state that when they was being abducted or when they was being experimented on, that the beings was cold, completely cold. They didn't have no soul, right? And this is your Greys that are utilized as robotoids, in essence, right? Biological robotoids. But then you have your other Greys, right? That are taller, that you can see function in them. You can see that they have a soul, right? It's very interesting. It's very interesting in reference to the whole Grey thing about us being them for the future. That's a very interesting concept. But here's the thing: if the past, present, and future is all happening simultaneously, then how do we still exist in these physical corporeal vessels if we are them at the same time? If the past, present, and future is all happening now. See, from what I heard, these are beings from Zeta Reticula, from a constellation, from the star system called Zeta Reticula. What's up, bro? Time is illusionary. Yeah, time is. Time is a man-made construct. Procyons are actually depicted looking like off the movie E.T. I had my galactic history report, and I was a Procyon. We're peaceful. Well, I could show you some other information with other beings from Procyon that look completely different. They look completely different. What's up, bro? What does it mean to have head pressure, crown chakra? This could be attributed to the Schumann resonance. It could be attributed to your piezoelectric crystals tingling because of energy fluctuations. A lot of times, because we have a direct connection, and those that are indigenous have a connection to the planet, you will feel ringing in the ear. You'll feel ringing, or you'll feel a vibratory resonance that typically takes place in the prefrontal cortex of the brain or in the chest. This is very common. There's no such thing as time. It was made up by reptilians to enslave us more. I agree. I agree with that. I agree. Some say that time is Saturn. All right. So if that's the case, if time is Saturn or Chronos, right? Because Saturn is Chronos, right? Chronological order, Chronos. If you ever punch the clock, a lot of times when you go to punch the clock, you see Chronos. That's Saturn. All right. And some say that Saturn is tethered to Father Time, concept of time, right? What's up? Have you ever heard of a soul trap not going into the white light? Yes, I have heard. I heard that the moon is a giant soul trap that actually is utilized as a reincarnation mechanism to keep us recycled on this planet for the purpose of loosh. Right? What's up? Have you heard of it? Yeah, I always feel ringing in the middle. Forehead lights up with nice warm sensation over you. This is because you're activating Anuhazi King. You're coming online. Peace, peace, goddess. Peace to the gods and goddesses joining. Big Ashe. Big Ashe, I hope y'all getting out in nature. I expressed earlier that it's very important to ground, that we're connecting with the trees, right? Putting your hands and bare feet on a tree is very essential for amplification of your electromagnetic aura field, right? This is how you strengthen your morphogenetic field, just by doing this. This forms a conduit, right? Between the tree, the ground. Right now I'm grounding and simultaneously cleansing myself of any nefarious archons, okay? Typically, when we talk about parasites, right? Any form of parasitic organism or dis-ease, it exists in the morphogenetic field before it takes residence in the body. It first exists in the morphogenetic field. So through sound healing, through grounding, through connecting with nature, you have the ability of actually cleansing and removing any archons from your morphogenetic field, thus preventing disease from manifesting in your corporeal vessel, right? funerals help with the soul trap process? Yes. Because when you actually bury somebody in the ground, their essence actually is tethered to this to this realm, to this 3D. I heard of that before. I ground myself when I can. Wearing copper and drinking water from copper cups helps us in being high vibrational. Ashe. Big Ashe. Yes, indeed, cosmic family. But you know, you got to be very careful with the copper. Some of the copper, there have been reports of lead actually being used in the inside of those some of those cups because they know we're trying to ascend. So you just got to be a little bit careful with some. I definitely need to do more grounding. Yes, get out and ground, and also sun gaze. Y'all see this? Y'all see Ra's out here? Y'all see Ra out here? Sun gazing is also very essential, and it amplifies the piezoelectric crystals, stimulating things like astral projection and lucid dreaming just by sun gazing. All right, when we talk about Christ walking on water, this is the personification of the piezoelectric crystals, which are the magnetized dendrites and calcites reflecting light over the bed of melatonin. Right? That's what I'm doing here at work. Ashe. Yeah, sun gazing. Get in nature if you can. I get tingling sensations in the middle of my forehead all the time. I can do it by at will if I focus my attention there. What does that mean? That means that you're basically activating your pineal gland, family. You know what that means. That means that your third eye chakra is activating. All right? By focusing attention on it, you're basically stimulating piezoelectric activity. All right? That's what that means. All right? So you're naturally creating activity in the prefrontal cortex by focusing on that third eye chakra. Mind over matter, 100%. We can overcome all their attacks of trying to limit our ascension. But once you light up your spine, Ashe. See, and when we talk about, I talked about Christmas, right? And I talked about Christmas tree, and I talked about how the spine is the tree. And they put the gifts under the tree, right, cosmic family? Due to the fact that Kundalini energy is stored at the base of the spine. All right? So this is where your gifts are stored. All right? So this is why another symbolism for gifts under the tree is the representation of the Kundalini energy that sits at the base of the spine before rising up and becoming that angel or star, right? From the crown chakra. What does that help with? How does that help me in my day-to-day? Well, activating the pineal. Activating the pineal gland is the pineal gland's primary job is secretion of melanin, first and foremost. All right, so when we talk about the pineal gland, yes, it's the cosmic gateway and brain's antenna to higher dimensional realms, but the pineal gland's primary job is the secretion of melanin. All right, it's the secretion of melanin. Some say the pituitary gland is the master gland, but it's actually the pineal. All right, and if your pineal is functioning at optimal level, it gives you the ability to actually protect yourself once these solar flares ramp up. Healthy melanin will fight any bacteria or virus in the body. Healthy melanin is the key. All right? Right? What else? Let's see here. There's orbs in the sky. You seeing orbs, cosmic family? You seeing orbs? Those are spirit guides oftentimes. Spirit guides, ancestors, us from other timelines. Orbs is an ascension symptom. When you see orbs, that's a sign. That's a sign that you're tapping into higher levels of consciousness and your pineal gland is decalcified. Also, these are probably ancestors or spirit beings coming to check on you. It could be protection, right? Right? Spirit guides coming to check on you, family. That's beautiful. Pineal is the shape of a pine cone. Fact. Big facts. Pine cone. Yes. Yes, indeed. And you can see a closed pine cone versus an open pine cone. All right. This is why I talk about herbs like Bacopa minori. All right. Which was named after the Hindu deity Brahma. All right. If you look at Brahma has his head on it's like panoramic. He has a panoramic view of everything because he has a hair here, a hair here, a hair here, a hair here. This is what the pineal does. It gives you the ability of seeing everything around you. All right. So this is why Bacopa minori is named Brahmi. It's named after Brahma. All right. That's a phenomenal Ayurvedic herb that the ancients used to ascertain deeper states of consciousness and meditation. All right. And a lot of people don't talk about Bacopa. A lot of people don't even talk about Bacopa. All right. I have high quality Bacopa link in bio. Right. Link in bio for Bacopa minori. One god that utilized the Bacopa in conjunction with the Harataki made me aware that he immediately had an astral projection experience. It was his first OBE. But as he started flying closer to his roof, he got scared and got back in his body. Why? Why do people get scared? of astral projection. How many of you guys actually experience an outer body experience? I want you to tell me in the comments. How many of you guys experience an OBE, and how many of you guys almost experienced an OBE but got scared and got back in your body? Be real about it too, because a lot of you been indoctrinated by religion, and once you begin to feel that vibratory resonance where you can separate from your corporeal vessel, you get scared and get back in your body. I got your Harataki right here next to me, brother. Ashe. I recommend taking 2 to 3 capsules before bedtime. You could take it upon rising too. Harataki is rich in phenolic compounds called tubologic and gallic acids. All right, and those phenolic compounds actually promote what's called acetylcholine. They combat neurodegeneration. I felt the vibrations from astral projection, but I heard noises and got scared. See, the thing is, the reason why we hear those noises is because we only see 0.35% of the light photon spectrum, and we only hear about 0.02. We hear a very minute percentage of what's around us. We don't really hear all of the things that are around us. So once we begin to astral project, you can hear everything now. You have more access to the electromagnetic spectrum. Don't get scared again, goddess. You have to embrace that. Don't want to open a gateway for evil shit. That's false. That's trick knowledge. If anything, when you exit the corporeal body, you have access now to your Akashic records. You're an infinite, multi-dimensional being that always are traveling. You're always traveling. You always are astral traveling, goddess. All right? You just don't remember your excursions due to the technology that they utilize to keep us in a sleep state. All right? There's deceptive technology. All right? The Black Knight satellite in conjunction with Saturn and Moon Matrix is all utilized to keep us in a sleep state, in this amnesia state. Once you break free of the corporeal body that we've been anchored to in this 3D construct, you can then travel to other worlds and everything. You can travel to the past, present, and future. We know that the time doesn't exist. One of the gods just said that. Time don't exist, and it's a fact. All right? So we can travel to all of those, what we allege, what we believe to be time. We can travel through all of those timelines because now, as opposed to being linear, you can see it from a higher vantage point. All right? So picture it like a tightrope walker, walking on a tightrope, right? If you're walking on a tightrope, you only can see this way, the front and back. But like if an ant was on a tightrope, the ant will be able to see everywhere on the tightrope. The ant can walk upside down, it can walk on sideways, everywhere, right? This is you once you astral project, or once you tap into the pineal, all right? And again, the pineal's primary function is secretion of melanin. Melanin is the chemical computer that facilitates the interior as well as the exterior functions of our body. All right? I mean, and when we talk about amplification of neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, this is attributed to things like tyrosine. So I'm telling you to get tyrosine because tyrosine is the building block of melanin. See, I'm putting you on game. When I tell you about things like chlorophyll and tyrosine, these are game changers that will allow you to tap into the astral realm way more freely. All right? Like, listen, Blue Lotus and Harataki, all of those herbs are phenomenal, but just cleansing yourself with chlorophyll will amplify your ability to astral project. Why? Because it removes the toxic metals that are covering the piezoelectric crystals. All right? So when you mix aluminum and barium, it becomes a receiver. All right, aluminum and barium mix becomes a receiver. This receiver is used for all types of deceptive machinations. I'm talking about radio wavelength transmissions, thoughts popping in your mind. It's not your own. I'm talking about mind control, all types of shit they can use to do toxic metals. So when you begin to purge and cleanse the body via chlorophyll, you remove those toxic metals that accumulate in your neurophysiology. You remove the barium, the thallium, the lead, the cadmium, the mercury, the aluminum. All those things begin to be removed. Then when you incorporate things like Blue Lotus, then it activates the pineal, stimulating it, which produces more melanin, which is the cosmic gateway and brain's antenna to higher dimensional realms. Just the production of melanin is what's going to be needed in order to survive these solar flares that's ramping up. And I'm not saying that to scare anybody when I say the word survive, because melanin naturally can protect you from 1,226 degrees. Look it up, Fahrenheit. And it also has natural components to protect you from X-ray diffraction. All right? Melanin is very powerful against environmental stressors, but it's just been attacked. They know that if they leave us alone, let's say right now, they said we ain't going to chemtrail no more. No more chemtrails is done. No more processed food. We would start to transform. And then the oxygen in the atmosphere is a neurotoxin itself. Right? The oxygen itself is a neurotoxin. The chemtrails are actually stratospheric aerosol injection spraying is with aluminum, barium, plastic particulates, and more. I did a whole video on chemtrails, family, where it's like so many different ingredients. Nitrogen trifluoride, interbacteriaceae, aborted fetuses, red, like different, all types of crazy stuff that you would never imagine is in the chemtrails is actually in them, believe it or not, fam. It gets deep. And I also believe that they don't even got to use planes or military no more, that they can just send drones out now into chemtrail. You feel me? Ascension isn't learning anything new. It's actually remembering the truth of things you already do and already are ascended. Ashe. 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 See, the thing is, we're all reminding ourselves who we are. It's not about, as you said, it's not about learning anything. It's reminding yourself. We're remembering. So I'm not teaching anybody anything new. I'm just reminding you. Right? I heard gold can help the air and oxygen. Yes. Gold is very essential. But this is why I also recommend consuming monatomic gold. Because it's an orbitally rearranging monatomic element that actually has the ability of interacting with the DNA on a cellular level to reverse things like senescence. This also decalcifies the pineal, all right, by way of the dead sea salts. Let's see. Yep, we are remembering. You're 100% right. We are helping each other see the truth that always has been. Ashe. Listen, all of us have fragments of the truth. What do you think about the void? I go there a lot before lucid dreaming. I personally feel like that may be a realm that you're embodying that's composed of pure darkness. They call it the void, but really it's the primordial water. Some refer to it as the primordial waters of Noon. Right? That triple darkness, that triple black. Right? So that's pure dark matter energy. I feel like that's pure dark matter energy. Oftentimes, everybody goes to a different realm. Oftentimes, I'll see squirrels or vibrant purplish and blue colors. You know, before I traverse or go to another realm or something like that. Or, you know, see, when I made a video, I was talking about dreams, right? And when we think about dreams, oftentimes when we're in a dream, we just see ourselves in the middle of the dream. Oftentimes, we never see the very beginning of the dream or how the dream actually starts. We'll just notice, oh, I had a dream about this. But if you catch the dream at the very beginning, oftentimes what will happen is a portal would open up and you would feel yourself being pulled through this massive portal. And when you're pulled through this portal at the other end, you would have the ability of then experiencing that alternate timeline or reality or the other variant of yourself. Because I believe we're multiversal. If anybody that's seen Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that movie was very, very accurate in reference to us existing in a multiverse. All right? That movie was very accurate. When America Chavez, how she can open dimensions and pop through. And if you notice, Scarlet Witch was trying to find her. But all Scarlet Witch wanted to do is have a normal life. She had all of these powers, these massive powers, but she just wanted to be a mom, right? But that movie is very, very good. Doctor Strange, she showed Doctor Strange died in other timelines and everything, right? This is us. We are multi-dimensional beings. We exist on multiple timelines all simultaneously. The beginning, middle, and Ashe. Right? So when you see, and one goddess earlier said she was scared of astral projecting, right? This is why I encourage you to eliminate the fear, because then you would experience reality at such a higher level, right? Because then once you access your Akashic records, which is the scholastic library of infinite cosmic data, then you have the ability of seeing what star system you derive. You have the ability of seeing that you actually exist in multiple timelines. You're not, see, some of us think we were certain deities in past lives, but we were multiple beings in past lives. We had multiple lives. This isn't your first rodeo, right? This isn't your first time being here. You existed multiple times before coming here. And guess what? You exist right now on multiple timelines all simultaneously. Ashe, fear, false evidence appearing real, Ashe. So this is why we shouldn't fear things like astral projection. This is why we shouldn't fear stepping outside these corporeal bodies, these corporeal vessels. They're only meat suits in essence. What does it mean when you see your past loved ones in your dream? Is that a past or future different timeline you're living? And I believe it. I believe that we can visit alternate time. I believe it's multiple timelines. I believe it's all of them at once. I believe when you listen, I was with my son in the dream. My son right now is 18, but in my dream he was like 5 years old. He was like a baby, 5 or 4 years old, right? And it's like, It's weird when you have those dreams, right? When you go back in time and you see your kids, or you'll be with a person, an ex or something, you don't even think about that person. You don't even think about that person. How many of you had a dream about an ex that you don't even think about, but for whatever reason in that dream, you're living a life with this person? Maybe an alternate timeline where y'all didn't break up, right? Or how many times have you been in a dream where somebody that you don't even know at all, but you feel like you know them? Somebody you never even met, but y'all cool as hell. This is because in an alternate timeline, you actually know that individual. You actually are rock with that individual, right? This is why once I start taking the lion's mane, that's one of the things that really started me to remember more of my dreams. All right, lion's mane is a phenomenal herb, or fungus or mushroom. All right, it's a phenomenal. It's Hericium erinaceus. It regenerates damaged neurons. Once you start taking the lion's mane, you're gonna notice you remember a lot more dreams. I take lion's mane daily. All right, I was taking it daily. Then I started taking more tyrosine, because I think the tyrosine is even more effective because it produces melanin. As a Procyon, avian blue, avian lyra, vegan, the tall blue avatars, Nehar being, and Kapala Chewbacca type being. Very interesting. That's how it was when I met my ex-wife. I knew instantly I knew her in another life. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting, Cosmic Family. See, when you met your ex-wife because you actually do know her from other timelines. You probably did work with her in other timelines. Y'all probably was a priest and priestess. You know what I mean? Y'all probably was going around doing all types of healing and everything in other timelines and all that, and just don't remember it. I get a lot of visions of people in places, and it feels like I'm in a trance when I'm in a deep meditation. This is because you are ascertaining those visions of alternate timelines because you're multiversal. Right now, while you watching this, right, gods and goddesses, I could tell you right now while you're watching this to imagine yourself flying over a pyramid. All right, the pyramid is all obsidian. It's black like my shirt, but it has a gold top tip, right? Gold point at the top of the pyramid. You're flying over it. Right now, you traversed and went to another realm and did that. While I'm talking to you right here, a portion of your consciousness went to that realm and experienced flying over that pyramid, right? We're multiversal on that level, and it's levels to our ability to travel. You can sit there and what they call daydream and travel to a whole other place just in your head. That's a form of astral traveling. Now, there's a difference between astral travel and astral projection. Projection is when your ethereal body completely exits your corporeal vessel. Astral travel is when a fragment of your consciousness goes to another realm or alternate reality to experience or ascertain information. So there's a difference between astral travel as well as astral projection. All right. Now, sometimes if you're in a dream and you're looking at yourself from third person, you ever see yourself in a dream? This is when you astral travel to another timeline to watch yourself. What if I told you sometimes the shadow apparitions are you? When you walk and see a shadow apparition is you from another timeline peeking at you. What if I told you some of the 444s or 333s or 555s you see are angel numbers, are future versions of you sending you cold, because they already mastered that particular timeline and they're trying to give you tutelage along your journey. I had a magic mushroom experience, Cosmic Family, where I seen my own self giving me angel numbers. I was like, wow, it blew me. It blew me completely. It let me know that we're multi-dimensional beings that are pretty much passing ourselves on information. It's not always an ancestor. Sometimes it's future yous. It's future yous. And I'm even talking about as far as seeing a shadow apparition to be a future version of you. A future you walk and you see something, it's another version of you peeking at yourself. Then when you go to sleep in your dream, you've seen yourself. Right? It's crazy. Yo, once in a magic mushroom experience, Cosmic Family, I seen, this is gonna sound crazy to a lot of people. I seen a younger version of myself and an older version of myself at the same place at the same time, right? Like a younger version of me was riding a big wheel, right? And as I'm riding this big wheel, the big version of me is a grown up was riding a car, and I rode past the other version of me. That shit sound crazy, but the shroom trip showed me that. It showed me that at one point in life I even passed by the younger version of me. That shit crazy, right? But these are things that we can experience because we are multiversal beings. Peace to the gods and goddesses joining. I want to do ayahuasca and help me link more directly to my higher self and spirit guides. I see angel numbers daily throughout the day. Yes, I feel personally like Angel numbers are future variants of us that are passing along tutelage. Now, there also can be Kirk Sully. Peace and love to you, family. You and your goddess told me a crazy experience y'all had on the magic mushrooms. That was an epic experience. This is why I'm saying everybody needs at least one magic mushroom experience or one psychedelic experience in a life to really fully break the fourth wall. If you haven't yet, you're missing out. If you haven't had an ego death yet, and you haven't completely dissolved your ego and stepped behind the fourth wall, listen, my last shroom experience was so intense, I haven't been back since. I had to take a break for a few months. It's been months since I've been back, right? In my last experience, I went to what appeared to be like source, I feel like, family. And there was some beings, I don't know if it was source or something else, but it was some Anunnaki-looking beings that were standing there, but they were in bodies. They were all composed of ethereal energy. They had the beards, and they were blue, bright blue, like royal blue. The skin color was pure royal blue. But it was composed of pure light. And I was in this place, and I literally felt myself astral traveling, flying super fast, extremely fast. All right? And then I also seen some dragons. And it was like 7 dragons guarding these doors. And the dragons was basically telling me that it's about to be a wrap for everything. They all opened these doors and they unleash pure chaos energy when they open those doors, family. Right now, the dragon ley lines are being activated. There's a lot of things that these deletes are trying their best to do to keep us from fully tapping into who we are. They're trying their best to keep the sun from activating. We'd love to go live with you soon and tell my story and essentially collaborate. Ashe, family. Most definitely. You're an amazing brother. Thank you for knowledge and being yourself. Ashe. Most definitely. Peace and love. Peace and love. But these type of experiences are needed in order for us to fully kill the ego. A lot of us are an ego. You know what? You can have a crazy magic mushroom experience, right, family? And let's say it's a person, a family member, somebody you upset with or grudge with, whatever. You will come back from that experience fully forgiven. Like, what am I even mad at? Because you realize that this existence that you think is reality is all one big game. Right? That you're projecting from the 5th dimension. And it's all about transmutation. How can we transmute to show up to be the better versions of ourselves? Please give your opinion at the start of my awakening. Heard a high radio static in left ear like it's being tuned. That sounds very powerful, family. It sounds like you probably were. It sounds like some type of frequency. Have you heard it again or only that one time? Right? And are you detoxed fully of all toxic metals from your neurophysiology? Have you completely purged yourself with things like zeolite? Detox 19 is a very good zeolite, by the way. And it contains NAC, which amplifies glutathione. Glutathione is a component that actually eliminates free radicals. Free radicals are unstable electrons in the body that create dis-ease. All right, so when you utilize something like a zeolite, the zeolite that I have to have NAC is also going to combat any form of antioxidants. All right, it's a very powerful antioxidant that's going to combat free radicals. All right, and it removes all toxic metals as well as microplastics. All right, so I told you, not too long ago, I healed someone with stage 4. I'll say allegedly. I got to be careful with certain verbiage. With stage 4 cancer. All right, more than one person, just by way of black seed oil, oil of oregano. And one of the things I had them do is a parasite cleanse in the Detox 19. All right, because cancer is a parasite. All right, allegedly. It's parasitic in nature, allegedly, right? So when you utilize things like oil of oregano, black seed oil, right? Black seed oil is rich in thymoquinone and prevents viral replication. All right, so if you were to take black seed oil every single day, you would prevent anything from formulating in the body. It's been said that black seed oil is the cure for everything except death. And it's known as the blessed seed. Black seed oil. It's known as the blessed seed. It has a lot of spiritual qualities too. What do you recommend for children with constipation? Berberine. Actually, I would recommend chlorophyll. Cleansing the body with chlorophyll. I have prune laxatives as well on Holistic Remedies. It's an organic laxative that's composed of prune tablets that you can give the kids as well. Prune juice would be fine too, right? Right in your local grocery store. You know, go grab some prune juice, 100% prune juice, and that will be fine, right? You can get that. But chlorophyll is something that I recommend your kid to drink to detox the body, because it sounds like if they're having constipation issues, they need to switch their diet. They may need a small parasite cleanse also to stop cravings from bad food.